Hi, Bella.
Welcome to Missless Garden. Bella and I, we're going to show you around about all the plants that we've been growing and we've been salvaging and regrowing. Right, Belle?
Yeah.
Yes, baby. This is her paradise, so that's why she gets to be in the shot. Right? This is your favorite spot.
Yep.
Yes. Wherever Mommy is.
Her paw is so dry.
Why she
Smile.
say, hi, YouTube. Hi. Hi. I know. Welcome to Missless Garden. Today I'm going to show you around my backyard and all the plants that I've been growing this season. Since my post-surgery, this has become a real hobby of mine. I've always been interested in growing plants, but never really learning about a variety of plants and how to grow them and how to take care of them and how to make them thrive. If you listen to my second podcast episode, my intro, I'm talking about how I'm really focusing on peace, calm, and presence in my life right now, and gardening is something that has been helping me a lot with that. So let's get showing you all the plants that I've been growing. I also want to say that I am not a professional gardener, so like if there are things that I'm saying that are incorrect, I apologize. So maybe do your own research after you watch the things that I am saying or the tips that I'm telling you. These are just the tips that I've researched and things that have been working for me. So these are, and I made all these custom signs to tell you what plants we are growing. So here we have my Rapunzel cherry tomatoes, which my tomatoes have actually been taking a really long time this year. But I've learned that you can prune back your tomato plants, your cucumber plants, to help them thrive and get the most energy possible to the plant. So there's like the main stem, or you can just trim it to make it if it's growing out of control. So my next door neighbor loves our tomatoes, so I actually let it grow onto her side so then she can pick her own tomatoes and reach over and grab them. But like there's the main stem, and on each of the main stem there's just the same thing as the cucumber plant. There's the sucker plant, and then the flower where the tomatoes or fruit will grow. So you actually want to cut off the sucker plants, the sucker parts, to help them get energy directly to the flower. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Honestly, I have a hard time even recognizing which one is which, and these ones I have to be very careful with because the Rapunzel cherry tomatoes grow like everywhere, so it's not so obvious which one you're supposed to prune back. So I don't do it as much as my cucumber plant, just because I want it to thrive and have as many cherry tomatoes as possible. So if I know that, okay, like this one is not growing any cherry tomatoes, but I feel like it's on the side here, something's coming off, so I'll just prune that back. And then you also want to prune back any of the leaves or extra suckers on the end here, so that bacteria or any other infectious stuff doesn't get into the plants. Yeah, so I will just prune this back. So like every couple days I will prune back, or if I just feel like putzing around, that's what I'll do. And yeah, so this one's growing like out of control into this one. I'm just gonna prune back that a bit. Honestly, I feel like there's no right or wrong way, and I thought that I was gonna kill my cucumber plant because I pruned it back quite a bit, but I realized it ended up just making the cucumbers thrive, which you'll see in a second. And if you like the aesthetic of it, obviously you can prune back as much as you want for it to look nice, but clearly this is kind of growing out of control, and I just stopped trying to secure structure, but yeah, it's working. Yeah, so sometimes I'll just leave it And then if you don't prune back the sucker part of the plant, it'll just regrow. And that's how it just keeps repopulating. It'll just regrow another stem, then the leaf, the sucker plant, and then the flower. So honestly, I found there's no right or wrong way for this. And that's what I like about plants. You kind of just figure it out on your own. Play around with it. Figure out trial and error. That's what I like. You can see here that it's growing the flowers just straight off of the main stem. And there's another one here. See how this one? This is the main stem here. And then there's cherry tomatoes growing there, off of there, like everywhere. So I could probably like prune back this, but I'm not 100% sure because look, if you look closely, there's some very early flowers that are starting to bloom. So I'm just gonna leave that for today. And then the next up, we have the Roma tomatoes, which I will go a little bit lower with the camera. These are very interesting. I've never grown these before, so these are new for me. As you can tell, they grow pretty low to the ground. They did have a lot of extra leaves, like the suckers and a lot of the sun leaves, and I found that they were taking a really long time to go red, to turn red. So I thought it'd be a good idea to prune back some of the leaves so then the sun can reach the plant where it's supposed to. But like here, even, I'm always worried it's going to be too low to the ground. So I'll just prune back that a bit today. Just to prune it back a bit. And then you can see that they're still growing tall. This one's a lot taller than that one, I think. Yeah, it's kind of just combining with the cherry tomatoes. But if I see that it's getting quite heavy, then I'll just prune it back. Yeah. I like to talk to the plants too, which I used to kind of laugh when people would say they would talk to their plants, but it really helps. I like it a lot. It's very calming, relaxing. Yeah. And then here we have our patio tomatoes, which are your typical tomatoes that you typically see. This one I'm having a hard time with because they're not turning red either. I pruned back it a bit because I could see that the flowers, they would start to flower and then they kind of got like brownish, so I feel like they weren't getting a lot of the sun because it was very bushy before. So I pruned it back quite a bit, and you can see that it's starting to thrive again. And I give it plant food weekly, just at the roots, and that's been helpful as well. But it's just very bushy, so I pruned it back a bit. I'm honestly not sure if that's the right technique for the patio tomatoes, but I'm giving it a try. And I pulled off the first two to hope that relieves some of the energy for the rest of the plant. Yeah, so it's all trial and error. Not sure if it's actually going to work, but maybe I will give you an updated video of the plants in a bit when they've grown more. This is my pepper plant. We're growing habanero peppers. Peppers for me always take a really long time, a lot longer than tomatoes, let's say. But it is starting to thrive now. And I pruned the bottom of it as well to avoid any critters or bacteria getting into it. But now I'm starting to think, I don't know if I should have done that because it could still grow more leaves up top. I don't know. But these ones I should probably prune back a bit because the leaves are starting to dry out, which we don't want to see. So I'm probably going to just do that. But if they're starting to die, I do want to prune them back. And you can see that before it was just very straight up, now it's blooming outside, which honestly my peppers have never really done in the past. So I think it's starting to thrive. You can see that they're starting to flower a bit. But I still think it needs to grow more. There's little tiny flowers here. I'll see if I can zoom in. And you can see like little tiny baby peppers. So yeah, these are my babies. I'll try giving a closer look. can see, maybe underneath here if I move it, that there are little peppers growing right in there. Yeah, you see those little guys? So they will start to grow very shortly. These ones don't have as many, but they're like under the leaves there. So maybe I do need to prune back the leaves a bit so then they can get some sun, but I think I'm gonna leave those pepper plants just for a bit longer. And this is my newbie. Let me get a good look here. So this is my very first time growing English cucumber. I've grown tomatoes and peppers before, just not the Roma tomatoes, so that's a little bit different for me, but the cucumber plant is my new plant that I'm very, very proud of. It's crazy to watch the cucumbers grow, and like I'm taking transformation photos of it, which is very lame, but I guess that's part of the gardening crew. And yeah, so I've learned a lot about the cucumber plant, and I thought I over pruned it and got very worried because I got a little caught up at like 11 o'clock at night, but it actually is thriving since, and I have a lot of cucumbers growing onto here. So again, like the tomato plant, there are a lot of sucker leaves that you're supposed to prune off, which I didn't know until it was a bit out of control. So in the future I will definitely have more of a structure. I've seen a lot of people like have structures up top that hang down a string to be able to pull up on the cucumber plant to let it grow vertical more, but clearly we don't have a lot of space here, so it's working. So you can see that the sucker plants are a little more obvious on the cucumber plant, I find. So I'll try getting a closer look actually. I'm all in on this gardening. Like I have so many cute pairs of gloves. I even got these gloves, I'll show you in a bit, that have claws on them because my nails kept going through the gloves and just like the water getting through. So here is the main stem. Then we have the cucumber. Here we have a sucker plant here going off of that. There might actually be two of them, which I think this is actually a sucker plant, but I can see that a cucumber is starting to grow there. So I'm gonna keep that one there because this is the main stem, that's the sun leaf, that's the flower of the cucumber. Then there was a sucker plant, but this one's starting to grow a little bit. And you can see here that there's like a little bit of clear like goo coming out of the stem. And that shows that the plant is actually very healthy. So if it wasn't clear goo, it would show that there's maybe infection in the plant. So this is clear goo, which is good, and that's just the plant healing itself, which is so crazy that like a plant is very similar to a human, and yeah, you can just watch it grow. It's crazy. I'll show you the goo. Let me go close. Here. There we go. So we have the sun leaf there, the flower, the cucumber, and then I just trimmed off the sucker leaf because it was pretty close to the next flower, and there's like a tiny little cucumber there, but that's like the clear goo. That's the sun leaf there. We have the sucker here, so we can actually peel that off. Sometimes you can just like twist it and it just comes right off. Yeah, this one actually might be another cucumber plant there, so I want to leave that one just for now to see what happens with it. We call them Mr. Cukes. There's a lot of them. So we have this big one, we have the one curling over there. They all kind of look all very different. Another one there, a few back there, big guy, little guys. So yeah, cucumbers are very interesting. I love seeing people gardening or doing their lawn and then taking tips of just observing them. And this is one like a bucket. It is life-changing when you're doing pruning back or doing some weeding. Just throw it in here instead of just making a pile. It's amazing. So, oh yeah, there's also the tendrils, which are these little spaghetti-looking things that is more firm now, but when they first grow, they're trying to latch onto something to secure, and those were very interesting. Like when those grew the first time, I was freaking out to Mike. I'm like, is that the cucumber? I had no idea. So researching it when something new happens is a lot of fun, and you're learning all about it. And normally my memory sucks, but as you're learning and in the moment and researching, it really stays in your mind of all the terms and all the things. So a lot of my family members are like, how do you learn all about this? It's like, I'm learning as I go. It's a lot of fun. As you can see, I'm wearing the Growth is Beauty hat. Merch will be available soon. Kidding, but it's really cute. Got it custom made. So those are my veggie plants. I'm actually going to be growing some new fruit and vegetables in these gallon pot things. So I will give you a little look at what I'm going to be doing there, and I'll probably videotape me doing it for the first time. That one's all trial and error, straight from the seeds. So we're going to see, because it's a little bit late in the season, mid-July in Ontario. So we're going to see. Play around with it, why not? And then this morning, my lavender plants are due for being pruned back. So when the lavender plant turns from purple into like this more grayish, I'm a little late on it. You want to prune it back, but not to the wood part, because you don't want to just take out the roots completely. I bought this little basket off of at Dollarama, super cute. Thought it was like would contrast very well with the lavender, like very opposite on the color wheel. I've already pruned back this massive one a bit, and I have the lavender drying out in a vase in my kitchen, which looks very nice and gives a nice smell to it. So I'm just going to prune back these. Obviously these are like my new ones this year, so they're not as full, but as you prune back the lavender, it'll start to grow back more, and you want to do this just whenever it starts to go like that grayish or brownish color. It depends, like you can always prune it back earlier if you want them to look pretty in your vase, in your house. I've dried it out before to take the lavender like seeds for it to dry out and put them in like little baggies for under your pillow, stuff like that, or in your room. So we're just gonna prune back that. It's kind of what I pictured. Maybe I'll make it look a lot nicer. But yeah, cool. So as I was saying before, to always keep the tags of your plants. So these are our perennial sage, Salvia caradonna. These ones, I didn't know, like they're just so beautiful. They look like lavender, so it's like across the backyard. It's really beautiful. So this actually blooms all the way from spring to the fall, and bees love these. So you can actually, it's the same thing as lavender. So when you see that the purple is starting to fade to like a gray, brownish, that's when you'll prune it back the same way as lavender, and it'll actually regrow about 2 weeks later. So I did this, and I learned, like obviously I was a little too late with learning that, so I had to prune back the whole thing. So when I pruned back the whole thing, it literally looked like the size of that little lavender. It was very small. Mike thought I killed it. I said give it 2 weeks. I did my research, and now it's starting to bloom again. So in the future, when you see that the plant, the sage is like starting to brown, that's when I'll start to do it more strategically. I will do it maybe like the front at first, then once that grows back, then I'll do the back. So I'm not doing the whole plant all at once, to like put a shock on the plant, and also like for the aesthetic part of it, I want it to look as purple and bloomed as possible. So in the future I'll do it like that. You can see here that it regrew back, and that is starting to turn this very, very nice purple. How beautiful it looks. Yeah, there we go. So you can start to see it's purple. It's going very, very bright purple. That's it turning purple, and then it'll do the opposite when it's ready to prune back. So you can see all here, I didn't kill it, people. It's starting to, all the flowers are starting to bloom from there.
Time of day. Cool and still shady.
Should you get her blanket?
Sure.
Not as full. Left.
I see that.
Gdzie chocolate? You got chocolate, right?
We're taking a break.
Why I asked? This is aesthetic.
Imagine you just like withered away. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see how long I can do this without Bella wanting to go inside because I feel bad. She never gets the chance to come out here and relax. It's the first time in a while. What am I start doing? I'm gonna start just chilling out here. No moving. When I move, she moves. She literally follows me and is glued to my side. It's next level. Next level since she's always been like that. But since the surgery when I was home and on bed rest for 10 weeks, she is next level with me. Yeah. Will help me? I'm gonna bring her inside and then we're gonna set this up on the grass, probably. Oh, these ones are big seeds. Cool. These are the zucchini seeds compared to and I will make custom signs for them so they can get sun. And just like that, like 2.5 hours passed by. I did a lot this morning for the garden, even though it looks like I barely did anything. But I'm glad I got the footage done, and I'm going to go ahead and water all the plants and the grass. And then either tonight when the sun goes down or tomorrow morning, I'll finish pruning the rest because it is like 32 degrees here and very humid. So yeah, that's the garden. I will give you a tour of the front and what I did to it. That one I'm very, very proud of because that was a lot of hard work. And it looks so much better. So yeah, stay tuned. And don't forget, if you have any tips or if some of the tips I gave you work very well or if they don't, let me know in the comments below. Still learning, and thanks for following along for this journey. I also forgot to mention that don't forget growth is beauty, so growth really takes time, but is very beautiful and very worth it. So stick to it. Watching. Peace. I already had a vase with the lavender drying out in here, so I'm going to show you how I put it in a vase and the best way forward if you're looking to dry out the lavender. Just remove off the leaves so it can really dry out and just stick it in. Very easy. That's what I like about lavender. Everything is very easy with it. should like turn off the candle too.
You want me